Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Living on the Edge, which is on Comics Ground official Spider-Man podcast. My name is Alec. I am the host of it. I am a senior staff writer at On Comics Ground. I write reviews for all the Spider-Man and Venom comics. And I'm joined today by James, actually. James is my editor-in-chief at On Comics Ground. So James, introduce yourself.
What's going on, y'all? Like he said, my name is James. I am the editor-in-chief of On Comics Ground. I am the host of Panel to Panel, the flagship podcast / live show of On Comics Ground. And that's about it, I guess. Yeah, that works.
Yeah,
Aquaman fan in the world.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Didn't you say like I don't care, like Aquaman is like the best superhero movie ever? No, you said it was your favorite, which I respect.
Yeah, critically, it is the best DC movie that has ever come out. Like, except for Christopher Reeve Superman, that's like offensive if I say otherwise. But in terms of like overall movies, personally, it is my favorite superhero movie because it got all the right notes. But I know that there are others that will say this and such and such and such is better. So I have to admit, yes, critically that is better. But objectively, I will always love it as my favorite superhero movie of all time.
And no, I get that. I definitely get that. I really liked Aquaman. I would definitely classify it as a good movie. I just hope that they get someone else to write the script for the sequel because the script was the weakest part of the movie. But that's just me. Like everything else, I really liked. So we're going to be talking just about Spidey games today, I guess. Well, no, okay. First thing I want to mention. Matt Smith signed on for the Morbius movie. Somebody needs to fire his manager because
I just this whole thing, like, I don't understand why, and like I'm gonna get so much hate from all the Spider-Man people like who listen to this podcast. Venom is a bad movie. I'm sorry, like, and the idea of having all of these Spider-Man like adjacent character spin-off movies is really bad. Like, yes, you could have Spider-Man movies like Miles Morales. That's a great idea. Like, and then they're making like a Gwen movie too. That's a great idea. But Silver and Black is a dumb concept. Morbius is a dumb concept unless you're gonna put Blade in it. Like, that is the only reason I would watch a Morbius movie is if Blade is gonna hijack it. Like, there is no reason Morbius the Living Vampire needs his own freaking movie.
Nobody fucking cares. And even now, like with Jared Leto in the role, I think that's going to turn people away from it even more, except from the fans he still has. Because, like, I'm sorry, everybody thinks Jared Leto is a creep now. Especially, like, we can go all day about that, but like, just everything about Morbius is just Venom. I can get why people saw, you know, like like you said, it's a bad movie. There are things in it that are okay and maybe even a tiny bit entertaining.
It's definitely 90s cringe to the highest degree, and it makes everybody who loved Venom back when he was created very satisfied. But when it comes to being an objectively good movie, it's just not.
It's absolutely not. And I don't know what the direction was for Tom Hardy in this movie, but okay. These thoughts on that are for another time.
But we're like derailing our entire topic here.
No, it's okay. Yeah, just Matt Smith is such a fucking amazing actor. Like John Krasinski should be Reed Richards in the MCU, and Emily Blunt should be Sue Storm.
Yes.
But if you cannot have John Krasinski,
I mean, honestly,
Matt Smith
if I could have Matt Smith as anybody, my first pick would have been Doctor Strange before Cumberbatch came in. But honestly, I'd rather have him as an X-Man of some kind. Like, I feel like Matt Smith would be a great X-Man of some sort. Like,
I wasn't even thinking of that. Yeah, like
I don't know who specifically, but I feel like him like even like maybe shave his head, make him Xavier. I don't know, like something.
I could
make
see.
him Magneto. I don't flip it. Know. Like give him something important because he's very intellectual. Like something like that. Hell,
make him Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler.
No, I got it. Make him the new Sebastian Shaw because everyone hates Kevin Bacon.
I mean, they could, but like, I guess they can't anymore. If Morbius ever even gets made, I don't even like. Unfortunately, I feel like it will, but I'm hoping that somehow, like, there's enough problems in pre-production to keep it from getting into production. Because I swear to God, I thought that was going to happen with Venom. I was like, this movie has been in production hell forever, and I just like. The fact that it got filmed, I was just baffled by.
Well, the problem that we have now is that the Dude Bros in the 90s McFarlane feeds, that's what I call them, the McFarlane feeds, like, like, they made Venom so successful, and then Into the Spider-Verse did so well, like, deservedly so, that Sony has enough leverage to be like, but we did well with Spider-Man products. So, like, yeah, we know Silver and Black got canceled, but they're gonna have enough leeway with Venom on the table to make a Morbius movie, which really fucking sucks.
Yeah, it's just like, on one hand, it's like I kind of don't want Sony to get bought out by another company because I want to see more Spider-Verse stuff. Sorry, excuse me. But on the other hand, when they do shit like Venom and Morbius and a fucking Night Watch movie and Jackpot,
like Night Watch isn't a horrible idea. Okay, it's a bad idea, but like like Spike Lee really wants to do a superhero movie. Like, let him do a superhero movie. I mean, if DC went off their high horse and just let Milestone be a thing, I feel like Spike Lee with a hardware movie would be the greatest thing on earth. But like, that's just my secret little there, and I feel like Mary will enjoy that. But that's beside the point. Or like give Spike Lee Blade or some shit. I don't fucking know. But.
Oh, I'd love to see a Spike Lee Blade movie. That would be amazing. Here's the thing, like with the assets that Marvel is getting from Fox, and here's the thing: I'm not saying this getting Fox is a good thing. I do not want Disney to be a monopoly. I think it's because Fox was selling anyway.
Yeah.
Like. Just because Disney would make better material. But, like, here's the thing. Like, with all these assets that Disney is now getting from Fox, like FX, Searchlight, all these studios, they could easily make more mature material. And that's why I am not too scared of the future of Daredevil or Punisher, because Kevin Feige would be an absolute idiot to not bring them back, and Kevin Feige's not an idiot, and I know contracts get in the way of it, but they have a shit ton of money and they can buy out those contracts, and even if they don't buy them out, they expire in 2020 anyway, so they could easily bring them back with those assets. But yeah, I just like again, on one hand, Spider-Verse stuff makes me not want to see Sony go because I don't want to see that series end prematurely. But on the other hand, Sony's going to keep doing dumb shit with the live action properties, and they are just as bad with Ghostbusters, and we talked about this before, but like
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I just Matt Smith, you got to fire your agent. He put you in the wrong Marvel franchise. I'm sorry, man. You could have been a great Nightmare, maybe.
See, yeah, some folks were wanting him to be Nightmare, and I was like, that could be a cool idea.
That would be amazing. Like, I would love to see, because I don't think we've ever seen Benedict Cumberbatch and Matt Smith together in a movie or show. And that would just be amazing to see. But, like, we're not. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get Nightmare or not in the sequel, but.
I mean, like, all you got left for a Doctor Strange sequel is Mordo. And I'm already not a fan of Black Mordo. Like, as the residential black nerd, I'm not a fan of Black Mordo, but that's neither here nor there. But don't we need to talk about some games?
Oh, yeah, we do. Sorry, everybody. I just want to go on a Sony sucks and is the bane of my existence. No. So, yeah. We're going to just talk about we're just gonna ramble a bit on our memories of Spider-Man games. So I'll just start this with the first two from like the 2000s. And this is funny because like everybody I know has like such good memories of these. I have only like a handful of like very vague, hazy memories about like I got like the PC version of the first game from like a Toys R Us.
Ew.
And yeah, but that meant it had better graphics because they actually had the webs on spot.
I mean, yeah, but like back then, PC gaming was not even close to
One
what it is now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but absolutely, yeah, I just remember my sorry, my first memory is just trying to swing and then dying and falling into the fog. I feel like that could be said for everybody else. I think most of my memories from that game just come from me like watching playthroughs of it when I was like really young, like 10 years ago on YouTube or whatever. Because like I remember when I was younger, I always had a fear of Venom. I was like always I was deadly afraid. I was like deathly afraid of Venom. Like that was like my worst fear. I had like the DVD for I had like the first DVD that was released for the animated series, like the 90s animated series, like the first DVD that came out for that. And there was like a special feature, or no, like the intro like had like flashing of all of Spider-Man's villains, and every time it showed Venom, I like closed my eyes. And knock with the devil in. No, I grew to love Venom eventually when I just stopped being a little bitch and
Oh no! Like kids are sensitive. Shit happens. Like, see, for me, like I think my first memory of playing a Spider-Man game was 2, and only because it has a funny story with it. It's the whole thing of like you know how they did that whole weird thing where like Mysterio was like a fake alien and shit, and like on top of like the Statue of Liberty and junk. For the longest time, I kid you not, I thought Mysterio was an alien. And then I finally read a Spider-Man comic for the first time after I finally started getting into comics, and I was like, "Oh my god, he's not an alien. What is this?" And then then Mysterio secretly was like my favorite character for a long time because I figured out he wasn't an alien. And then I just that's why I'm excited that Jake Gyllenhaal is gonna be him in this new movie. But it's like
absolutely.
But and then I used to just love swinging for hours in Spider-Man 2. And then contrary to popular belief, I know Spider-Man 3 fucked up a lot of things story-wise, but that video game was just a carbon copy of Spider-Man 2. So I would constantly play Spider-Man 3 out of Reddit for Family Video and junk. So it was pretty much just the same game for me.
The funny thing, well, first of all, I actually did like that rendition of Mysterio, of him being like a fake alien.
It was so
I'd like to see that in another version because it was like just it really did feel like the Raimi version of Mysterio would be, because it just something about it just had Sam Raimi written all over it. But but I didn't have a PS3 when it first came out, and I just remember the PS3 was at first was just a giant advertisement for Spider-Man 3. That was the one game it was because it had the font, the Spider-Man movie font.
Well, see, the problem was I played the PS2 version of Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, that's
they just reused Spider-Man 2's core and redid a bunch of stuff for it. So it was really weird to play, but it had the same web physics, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, that's. I remember I saw all these screenshots and gameplay videos in 2007 from the next gen version of Spider-Man 3 that was on PS3 and Xbox 360, and I was like, okay, well, I'm excited to play this. And I picked up my copy of Spider-Man 3 for the PS2 at a Blockbuster, and then I was playing it and I was like, what the fuck? Because I'm like, this is not what I was promised. And then
I got a story about that later, actually. Let's
oh god, but then it took me 2.5 years to finally be able to play the one on Xbox 360, and I like Spider-Man 3. Like it, like that game has not aged well at all because like I guess like the graphics could be counted as cutting edge back then, quote unquote, but like the facial. I think Xavier said it in like his retrospective that it just looked like a silly Gmod animation, which it does. But yeah, and now like for some reason I'm itching to play the PS2 version again because I played the PS3 version so much.
If I'm itching to play anything right now is I kind of want to buy a PS2 just so I can play Ultimate Spider-Man again, because I'm sitting here like while we're recording, I'm just swinging around on my 96% normal mode of Spider-Man PS4, and I'm just like having fun swinging around, and I'm like, I really miss the Ultimate Spider-Man web physics, and it's bugging the crap out of me.
Like I actually did get here's the funny story. So when I was I was like 10, I think. I sold I was like wanting to get a PS3 so bad. This is before I changed my mind to get an Xbox 360, but I wanted to get a PS3 so bad. So my dumb little 10-year-old self was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell my PS2 and all of my games and all of like my add-ons. Like, do you remember the iToy?
Yeah.
That was that brings back a lot of memories, but yeah, like I'll put that in with it. I sold it for $50. to me that was a lot of money, but then I realized shit, I should have sold it for more. But yeah, I bought a used PS2 a couple years ago and it still works fine, surprisingly. But like I got like 2 Spider-Man games for it. I got like the Spider-Man movie game of the first movie, which I'll talk about in a sec because I have a lot of memories about that. But earlier last year I got Ultimate Spider-Man, and like that game is just I think that's one of the best games of the PS2 era, and it was massively overlooked because everybody was praising Spider-Man 2, and I like Spider-Man 2 a lot, but like Ultimate Spider-Man is just so much more fun, in my opinion. It's much more pleasing to the eye. The aesthetic, the comic book aesthetic of it was amazing. The soundtrack too, I loved, and I love that it feels like Into the Spider-Verse was kind of like, it felt, at least to me, like a small homage to that.
Yeah, you're right.
Because with the cell shaded aesthetic and the techno soundtrack too.
Yeah.
I just remember like all the races I had to do, especially with Johnny Storm and the music that would play during that.
Yes, Johnny Storm with the world famous Fantastic Four. What on earth are you doing in Queens? I still remember that entire like break of sequence that cutscene where they had their little exchange. I had to peg to my memory where he's just like, I have to be here. You go save the world.
And he's like, what do you say we race around Queens? And then it's funny because I couldn't tell at the time who was talking because they both sounded very similar. I don't know the name of the guy who voiced Johnny Storm. I know he voiced Danny Phantom.
Dang, now you're making me pull up IMDb.
Well, but yeah, playing as Venom, it's funny because like I first saw that game when I was still afraid of Venom, and I saw Venom on the cover. I looked to my mom and I said, "Uh-oh." And I pointed to her, and she was like, "Oh," because she knew I was afraid of Venom.
That's hilarious.
But yeah. But then like a year later, when we like moved into our new house, I finally got over my fear of Venom and played the game. And like after the race, and I had no clue. For the longest time, I had no fucking clue that I had to cross the bridge to get to Manhattan. I had no clue. it said like the new chapter of the story is available. I'm like, okay, where? So, and I didn't see anything, so I'm just swinging around for a long time. And I found the bridge one day. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me! How have I missed this for months?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so I just kept playing the first 4 levels over and over again for a while.
And it's
But
David Kaufman is the voice of Johnny and Danny Phantom.
David Kaufman,
Yeah.
nice. I wonder if he's doing more stuff. I know Sean Marquette. I don't know. I wish we got Sean Marquette to play Spider-Man more, because Sean Marquette was great.
Oh yeah, he was a
Like,
great version of Spider-Man.
Every time I read the Ultimate Comics, every time Peter is speaking, I can only hear Sean Marquette's voice. Like,
for me,
especially when
I can't think of who I think. I honestly, I think about either 90s Spider-Man, or I hear freaking, who's Barney Stinson? Fucking brain, what are you doing? You know this. Where's your brain at? You're gay. You should know the gay icons. What the fuck?
Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick. Like, I think about that 90s Spider-Man or Neil Patrick Harris when I read a Spider-Man comic, because of that really like cel-shaded like MTV Spider-Man for a long time. Like,
yeah,
that was my shit. Like no one can tell me otherwise. That show was my shit. Like, it was amazing.
I love that. I remember, like, on the VHS I had for the first Spider-Man movie, there was like this really cool ad for the MTV cartoon, and it like had unused footage, like this one really cool shot where Spider-Man's like swinging in the rain.
Yes.
And like, I remember that, and I've gotten to the point where I've like started rewatching, like, people have uploaded like the trailers that are on VHS tapes to YouTube, and I just start watching those over and over again because I'm a sad nostalgic fuck. But yeah, like, I do wish the MTV series got another season, because the funny thing is, I actually looked into it. It was supposed to be like a straight up adaptation of Ultimate Spider-Man.
I got the vibe that it was supposed to be a continuation of the Raimi movies.
Yeah, that's what it became, because it was first like getting in production in like 2001, like a very short time after now things changed, and they were told by Sony or executives or whatever, we want this to kind of be seen as a continuation from that first movie, with Harry thinking Peter killed his father and all that other stuff, which, like, I like to think about it like that. But like, the funny thing is, like, for a long time I always like assumed, like, straight up that that was canon to the Raimi films. So like, the first season ends with Peter quitting being Spider-Man because Indy got in a coma, I think.
Yeah. Alec, you keep cutting out.
Oh, sorry, I was just taking a sip to drink. Yeah, like, I remember it ended with Indy getting into a coma or something really bad. But I always assumed that the start of Spider-Man 2, where he's like at the light, needing to deliver the pizzas, I always thought like that was the thing that made him decide to come back as Spider-Man.
That's hilarious.
Wouldn't that be so funny if that was like, well, like, it can't be because he had the mask in his pocket when Mr. Aziz was talking to him. Yeah. But like, if that wasn't in that, like, I'd be like, that's my headcanon. That's my theory for it being, for that series being canon to the Raimi movies. But yeah, it's unfortunate they never continued that. I don't know. I don't think MTV was like the right network to air that on.
Yeah, probably not, because like all the hip kids were probably feeling that.
Yeah, it was still in a time where it was in a time where nerd stuff was still looked down upon and seen as kid stuff. So if it was on Adult Swim, I think it would have gotten a better chance.
Probably. But nah,
Like,
like Ultimate Spider-Man was my shit. And then for all the longest time, I didn't know other Spider-Man games were coming out. So like the only thing remotely that I had Spider-Man related was Ultimate Alliance for a long time.
oh yeah, I don't think I ever finished that actually. I
Oh, you
never
are a
finished Ultimate.
criminal.
I'm sorry, I was young and stupid. I didn't know how to play like those kinds of games,
And then
and
Activision just took it off the freaking PlayStation Store, so you don't even get to play the remastered.
yeah, and I'm mad about that. I was trying to buy that like before it went off the store, but I didn't have enough money, so
That
I was
sucks.
just yeah, it really I hope when Ultimate Alliance 3 comes out, they can re-release them on the Switch because that would be nice.
That would be dope because I think they wouldn't be like the kind of games you could play on
Yeah.
the Switch.
I remember like people were a couple things.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to be blunt as hell.
Okay.
If Ultimate Alliance 3, this kind of game released on consoles like PS4 and Xbox One and touted as like a big title, people would pan it because it's not like a traditional quote unquote game that you'd think a Marvel game would entail.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's the unfortunate thing about it. And that's why they're making Avengers Project whenever the fuck that's actually gonna come out.
I
But
don't know.
yeah. But also people were being like, oh, it looks too much like the MCU when they have the Black Order
The problem with
and
it is
Thanos.
it looks like a mobile game. That's the biggest problem with it. Like, because
Uh,
it looks like Marvel Future Fight. Because I just got done unlocking all the Fantastic Four in that game. It looks like Future Fight. And while I'm going to play it because I'm a has been for Marvel Ultimate Alliance, like it's very easy to see why people are mad. But I'm not gonna shove it in the trash can and be like, "No, you're the devil," like other people were doing. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
We're lucky to get anything, and as bad as Ultimate Alliance 2 was, I'm grateful for anything at this point.
Yeah, like I'm personally like it looks more like the designs at least, not like the graphics, but the designs, they look like a mix of 616 and MCU.
Yes,
And
very much so.
people are saying it just looks like MCU completely, and it doesn't. Like Falcon doesn't look like that in the MCU.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull this up because I haven't seen this picture.
Yeah.
Because I remember not really liking Falcon's costume, because I'm a big Falcon fan. Ultimate Alliance 3. Okay, so okay, it doesn't look that bad. Okay, so the pretty much did just use Falcon's new suit. Like, yeah, it very much is a mix of like. It looks like they just took all of the suit designs from Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and then moved everybody over here, pretty much.
I can see that, but I like Spidey's redesign costume. I think that's pretty good. Gamora looks exactly like she does from the comics, so
No,
I
like
don't know.
that's literally her costume from
Oh, it
Marvel
is?
Now, like from Marvel Now and from Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Oh, it does. I'm dumb then.
No,
But
you're fine.
it at the very least, it doesn't look like a copy of the MCU to me.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
But yeah, it just looks like a conglomeration of stuff, and like you said, like just completely taken over from Marvel vs. Capcom. And
I'm kind of irked that randomly Crystal's there, but like
fine
no
with
other Inhumans.
yeah, I don't know. We're gonna get. I think they're gonna reveal more. I don't think the Fantastic Four are not gonna be in it.
I mean, Wolverine is the only X-Men that we've seen so far, so I'm not really hopeful for Fox equivalent characters right now.
They said that there will be multiple X-Men. It won't just be Wolverine.
Okay, thank God.
So I'm pretty hopeful. But maybe they were keeping it secret because now that the deal has gone through, Marvel has been able to advertise the Fantastic Four beyond the comics.
Well, we had the issue right before Marvel Heroes shut down, where they just like flat out took all of the X-Men and Fantastic Four off of Marvel Heroes, and then they lost their entire player base right before they were going to shut down, and it was like, oh well, I guess no one cares now.
Yeah, I that was a weird kind of just time that Marvel was just trying to choke out Fox.
Now
to
we
like
have apparently the Fantastic Four is going to be in Spider-Man PS4, and I'm like, what?
I mean, there already was a Reed Richards Easter egg. Like one of the sticky notes on Peter's desk said, like, call Reed Richards back about suit material.
Yeah, there's no Baxter building in the game. What the fuck?
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe there will be something. I don't know. Unless maybe in this universe the Fantastic Four haven't existed yet.
That would be weird. They randomly just shove like a whole Fantastic Four DLC where the Fantastic Four are just created. That would be kind of weird.
I'm fine with that. If I get more Spider-Man content, I'm fine with it.
I still need to buy the season pass because I didn't have money for it when it first came out.
The City That Never Sleeps is okay. Do you know the spoilers from it?
I know that Black Cat's like has a kid or some shit, but otherwise,
Here's
I don't
the
know
thing.
what happened.
Here's the thing. As soon as that happened, I was like, this is actually really interesting and does something really different and unique for Felicia Hardy's character. Because she's always seen as like the loner who like has flings with Spider-Man and has a heart of gold. But this is like something different, something that like she now has something to protect.
Yeah.
And something to be selfless for. Because even Peter can't really make her all that selfless. But, like, if she has her own kid, like, that makes her completely selfless. And the concept of it maybe being Peter's kid, too.
That was weird.
That was, like... But, like, it was weird, but, like, it was a strangely mature thing for, like, Insomniac to put forward. And then they revealed at the end it was all a fucking ruse. Just so Felicia could steal more money.
God damn it!
Here's my problem with that.
I couldn't just let her have the kid. What the fuck?
No. Here's my problem with that. In the main game, while you're doing the Black Cat's stakeout, it is explained. Like, it is highly stressed that Felicia has to be desperate for some reason to be out of the game. Or to be going back into the game. Because last time we heard, like, from Peter, he said that he made her promise that she was going to quit that life and that she was going to go. But then like she comes back in the heist and it's like, okay, why is she back at it? And then with the child thing, that was like a huge bombshell. And it's like, oh God, that makes sense. That makes sense as to why she would be back in the game. And I thought they were going to go the mature route with it, but they didn't. And they just made her pull a fast one over Peter to just so she could get more money.
That's so stupid. I'm so salty now.
Like, yeah, like that. Here's the thing. Felicia will do some really underhanded shit. Like, she's not above underhanded shit. But, like, doing something like this is kind of cruel, especially to Peter, who is somebody she claims to love.
Yeah, that's like even like there was the whole thing recently in Spencer's comic where like she broke down in front of him. She genuinely cares about Spider-Man. So
exactly
the idea that they could just be like, "Oh no, I lied to you because I wanted more money." I'm like, nah, that's so dumb.
And then like she goes to her apartment and Hammerhead rigged it to blow up, and then she like disappears. And she's assumed dead until like the last chapter where she saves you from getting killed by Hammerhead and gives you a flash drive full of information on the Magia and how to take down Hammerhead. And she's just like, sorry, I tricked you. Bye. And
that's so dumb.
And okay, that doesn't resolve why you did everything. Like, why do you have the money? What are you doing with it? Which is why I'm hoping that this is being saved for the sequel.
Hopefully.
I'm hoping I hope she's a main character in the sequel. But like, here's the Yuri is on the path to becoming Wraith. Like, officially by the end of
that. And I saw a video about that. And I was like, no, Yuri.
Yeah, like by the end of you do in this after this at the end of this one side mission, you find killed, tied to like this tied to I don't know what it's called. It's like on a rooftop, tied to this cylinder, and like he's tied by like yellow and purple ribbons, and there's like a bunch of ribbons stretching across the people that he's killed and stuff. So like it sets up that as a story for the sequel, which I'm like, okay, here's the thing. I'm worried that they're setting up too much.
Because first, it definitely seems like a Dishonor from Bethesda kind of situation where you're setting up crucial plot points in DLC, but not everyone's gonna have the money to buy said DLC.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to re-explain your bombshells in the sequel, and it's gonna be like really redundant for people who played the DLC, and it's gonna be like,
yeah, and like for the sequel, they have Green Goblin, they have Venom. However, they're going to do Venom. Half of the people are okay with Harry being Venom. Half of the people are not okay with Harry being Venom. I don't know how I feel
about it. I like yeah, Spectacular did it for like one episode, but like in general, Harry as Venom, I don't know how I feel about that.
Like, and the thing is, Eddie Brock exists in this world. Like on one of the backpack items, it was a going away card, like because Peter was leaving the Daily Bugle, and one of the signatures was from Eddie.
Yeah.
So Eddie exists. So what are they gonna like hastily set up him in the sequel, or I don't know. I really don't
see them doing is pulling a Spectacular and being like, at first the symbiote is Harry, and then they'd be like, oh, Eddie's struggling with his past. Let's give the symbiote to Eddie halfway through, and it's like, ugh.
Maybe. I don't know. Like because we have Goblin, we have Venom, we have Miles, we have now Wraith, we have Black Cat, all these things that are unresolved. Unless the sequel is going to be like a 40-hour game, I don't know how they're going to juggle all this unless they're going to save stuff for the third game, which I could see them doing, but like I could see a lot of people.
Here's the problem I have with repeated Spider-Man games. You've already built the entire scale of New York City. If you keep doing more things with like trying to make more sequel games, it's gonna get really redundant when the same gameplay is happening over and over again. It's not like a movie where you can only do certain where you can like limit it where you go. But with say Spider-Man PS4 2 or Spider-Man PS5 2, like you're gonna have this issue where you already have the entire scale of New York built, and everybody's been to every inch of it by now. To the point that people already modded Stan Lee and Joan Lee's graves into the back of the freaking city. So like there's all these Easter eggs with Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and the Avengers Tower and shit. Like, it's gonna get to a point where we've done everything and been to every inch of this city. So if you just give us the entire package again with just new content, it's gonna feel like you should have just made us pay $25 for another update.
Yeah, which is here's the thing. Sorry. What they can do for the next game is have you explore all the boroughs, like Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx, all that. Maybe Staten Island, I don't know, but there's a lot that they can do. But it's like after that, what do you do? Because the Arkham games had the advantage of first just being an Arkham Asylum and having that be the map.
Exactly.
And then you had Arkham City, which is only part of the map. And then Arkham Origins had its own version of Gotham. I don't know how much that covered. I haven't played Arkham Origins, but
Origins
then Arkham
had about 2/3 of what Arkham Knight had.
Okay, so then like Arkham Knight had the whole of Gotham. Like it built up to that. So beyond the boroughs, it's like where can you go from there? Exactly. Unless you're gonna pull a Far From Home and travel to completely different areas. Or I guess they could do San Francisco if they do Superior Spider-Man, which I hope to fucking God they don't, because I really don't.
A lot of people want them to do Superior, and it's like you just had Ock as a villain where you changed his entire origin. Like, if you shoehorn in Superior just because Superior is popular, when, fun fact, a lot of Spider-Man fans hated Slott for making Superior happen in the first place, and then they grew to like it. So, if you do that, it's gonna make all the possibilities you could do with the franchise moot, because you jumped so far into the future, because it's very obvious that this Peter hasn't dealt with clones yet. So if you wanted to have a thing where, say, Peter hands off the torch to freaking Miles and him and Mary Jane settle down, you could have Riley show up and be like, hey, I'm Peter. And it's like, no, you're not. Peter's over there. Clones! It could be perfect. But I don't know.
Also, in the sequel, I feel like they're going to have like a back and forth, like 50% of the game you'll play as Peter, 50% of the game you'll play as Miles. So they can offer like Miles being a completely different fighting style depending on like what they choose. But that's risky too, because like how do you still feel like you're being Spider-Man without making it feel like you're playing the same character?
Well, and then this is the problem I had with Red Dead Redemption recently, where the epilogue gave you what's his face instead of the other guy, because I'm totally blanking on Red Dead right now because I'm playing Spider-Man. The issue there was you have different upgrades and different weapons, so unless you're gonna pull a Catwoman Batman system from Arkham City where they have their own upgrade trees and shit, people are going to get really confused why both these dudes have the same movesets and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like I don't know how they can make Miles a kind of different fighter than Peter. I mean, I'm not saying they can't. They absolutely can, but like they're going to need to like make Miles feel completely different from Peter, but not different enough to not feel like you're playing as Spider-Man.
Agreed.
That's just, I'm interested to see what they're gonna do, because Insomniac has kind of like boxed themselves into a corner because they have all these things they've set up.
Well, because as much as I love Miles Morales as a character, which I feel like I want to come back on another episode and explain why Miles Morales needs to be the only Spider-Man in the canon right now. That'll be a whole other episode. I feel like even though I'm a huge Miles fan, they really screwed up by introducing Miles into their universe so fast, because it makes it apparent that in the sequel, either you're going to need Peter to either die or settle down so Miles can have the reins. Otherwise, the community is going to get irritated that there's two Spider-Men out there. It's only going to work for so long. Like, Marvel's doing it right now in comics, but even at that point, we're getting annoyed with the fact that there's two Spider-Men running around.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Here's the thing. Miles could have still been in the first game, but just not have the spider bite him at the end. Maybe what they could have done is, like, change it to where... Because the thing is, like, I get it's for fan service that you have the spider with the number 42. It's the number 42, right? I'm blanking, but
I don't know what's on my head.
I think it's the number 42. Like, I get the fan service of that with the with MJ carrying the spider from Oscorp unknowingly, and then having it fall into Miles and biting him. I get that, but what could have happened is like have in the sequel, like have maybe a part where Norman kidnaps Miles or something, and like Norman's going so far to try to like cure Harry, so he starts using like some of the spider DNA on Miles, and that's what gives Miles his power.
That could have
like worked. I think that would have worked better, because I just like it feels like they're going way too fast setting up the stuff, and again, like it's unless they're gonna have like a 40-50 hour game that's gonna cram in all this story.
I mean, it already feels like they chipped half the villains they had in the Sinister Six arc, because that was the whole weird thing of, oh, Mr. Negative is so intimidating, and then, like, second half of the game, oh, we had the Sinister Six, even though we made all their boss fights 2x2s, and it's like, that's kind of dumb.
Yeah, like, I just, I don't know. I think for the third game, Norman and Otto should be the main villain for the third game at least. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do for the sequel, and I'm hoping for the best, but we'll see. But you know, like, it was always really funny. I can't remember like what the first game was that had like the Miles suit as like an alternate suit. I don't know if it was.
I think it was one of the Amazing games.
I think I can't remember if it was the first one or the second one, but I remember that they like they were so lazy and so well. Not I don't want to say lazy because I don't respect the game developers, because like I'm sure they tried the best they could, and Sony was just breathing down their necks, telling them they gotta get this game out. But they reused models from the other games, like from Edge of Time for the alternate suits.
That's hilarious. See,
and literally,
like Amazing Spider-Man didn't occur in general, so that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't like. I had a lot of fun with Amazing Spider-Man, because I was looking forward to it, like both the movie and the game. Like, I was looking forward to it a lot. Sorry.
You got some
I'm sorry,
there, buddy?
No, it's like whenever I drink water, I start like needing to. It's like acid reflux, but not acid reflux.
I'm over here.
I don't know.
On Diet Coke, and I'm not having as many problems as you are.
I don't know. I just have bad acid reflux, but yeah, like Amazing Spider-Man, like the movie. It's not perfect, but I'd still say it's underrated. And I'm mad that Sony just threw out the dark tone that they like setting up so much for this movie. They like threw it away for the sequel. Because
I honestly didn't like the dark tones, and then I just hated Amazing Spider-Man with a passion because they decided, well, we don't know what's gonna happen, and we want to make a Sinister Six movie, so let's kill off our second lead character. Wait, what? What are you doing? No, crack. Wait, no.
Yeah, like that stuff I can't forgive at all, because that's just ridiculous.
It's like, let's snap Emma Stone's neck. Why? And let's reveal it in the trailers. Why? It's in the comics, right? That's not how this works.
I thought this scene was like really well done. Like, out of context from the rest of the movie, I thought the scene was
a beautiful scene. Like, the whole, like, spider hand grabbing towards her is, like, really dramatic and whatnot. But, like, the really crappy goblin and Jamie Foxx hamming it the hell up. And, like, Dane DeHaan being the worst Harry Osborn possible. And just, like, the whole, like, trying to shove in the ultimate storyline with Peter's parents. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Okay, I do not think Dane DeHaan is that bad of a Harry Osborn, but I can definitely see where you're coming from.
Okay, fair enough.
I actually, as the Goblin, if he actually looked like the fucking Goblin, I think his performance was fine for that, especially the laugh. I thought the laugh was actually surprisingly on point. But
okay.
That's just me though. Like I didn't think Dane DeHaan was able to make sound, but he did. So props to him. But like Electro was wasted fucking potential.
Yes, he was.
Like he could have been like a really cool parallel to Peter Parker.
Yes.
A parallel to what Peter Parker could have become. Because like if they made him more realistic, like if they made him more like Peter was in the first movie, with him being like an outsider and not really fitting in. They didn't have to have him be crazy and talking to himself and screaming at his like bedridden mother and being super obsessed with Spider-Man and pulling a Batman Forever.
It was a Batman Forever, you're right.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I feel like Mark Webb was just screwed over and he had like a vision for what to do. And then Sony just kind of just he tried to build a sandcastle, and Sony just stomped it into a ground and built a shittier sandcastle, and they're like, this is better, you got to do this. But
he tried to make a sandcastle.
Yeah, it's I don't know, but like, yeah, that first Amazing Spider-Man game I actually did have a lot of fun with. I remember for the longest time, for the like forever, they were saying that Andrew Garfield was going to voice him.
Nope.
Which at first I was like, that's weird because he doesn't have a voice that really translates well to voice acting.
Yeah.
I think Tobey Maguire does because he has a pretty unique voice.
Yes.
But Andrew Garfield, not entirely.
And honestly, if they would make a Tom Holland game, I feel like Tom Holland could handle it, like similarly to Tobey Maguire. Maybe, possibly, I don't know.
I'd be down for that, but like I don't. I think we need to not make movie games anymore because
we're past
especially with the MCU, because like that would just fuck up a bunch of continuity.
Remember when we had Thor and Captain America and Iron Man video games? Because I do.
Yeah. Oh, the Captain America game was actually pretty fun. It was actually
literally the Captain America and the Thor game were made by the same company, and they had the same like HUD screen and everything, and it was so weird.
There was supposed to be an Avengers game too that was going to be like a first person.
Bro, thing. I love looking at stills and video of that thing because it was such a cool idea. I love that shit. I wish they could get another shot at that because it was such a cool concept. It was like what Ultimate Alliance 2 should have been with the whole fusion idea. It's what that game should have been.
Imagine if that's what they're doing for Avengers Project. Like they're doing the first person. I don't know. Like I remember like earlier this past summer, I don't know if this is like a legitimate leak and just like was like the thing was delayed because of it. I don't know. But like I remember reading that like the three main characters are going to be Iron Man, Captain America, and Scarlet Witch, and the playstyle was going to be very similar to Uncharted.
Why Scarlet Witch? Like I love Wanda, but like why Scarlet Witch? Why not Captain
America? I don't know. But like it was intriguing. But then they said like it was called Avengers. It was going to be called Avengers Ultimate Alliance, and it was going to be like a semi-reboot of the title. But now the Ultimate Alliance 3 is coming out. I guess that like throws that out the window.
I mean, Wanda is in that whole screenshot, so like I guess that kind of
work. Imagine if like they just pull an April Fool's and said, "Hey, Ultimate Alliance 3 was Avengers Project."
Oh, bro, that would that would piss me off. Like then I'd be in the camp of okay, now you done fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, Amazing Spider-Man, and like it was fun. It was a mixed bag because there were just things that were just like felt like a chore to do. The funny thing is, everybody talks very highly of Shattered Dimensions. I don't care for that game at all.
Honestly, like I've never played either Edge of Time or Cracker, whatever the fuck it's called, Cracker Time, Edge of Time, whatever the fuck it's called, or Shattered Dimensions. I've never played either one of them because, and this is the funny story I was going to talk about, I was so burned after Web of Shadows because I was the poor kid that couldn't afford a PS3 or a 360 for a while, so I bought the PS2 version of Web of Shadows thinking, oh, I'm good, no big deal, and it was a side-scroller, and I was so livid, and I was like, you know what? I'm good. No more Spider-Man games for a while because on top of the fact that it was a side-scroller, it gave me horrible flashbacks to the Nintendo DS Spider-Man 2 video game. So I was like, you know what? I'm good. Thanks though. I'm good. Like I'm gonna take a break from Spider-Man for a while. So and then PS4 was coming out. I'm like, you know what? It looks this goddamn good. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna give it a shot.
Yeah, I get that. Like honestly, in my opinion, you weren't missing much in terms of gameplay from Shattered Dimensions and Edge of Time because it felt like a chore to play both. Like there was a good amount of fan service actually in as Ultimate Peter, because like I always saw it as like a semi-sequel to the Ultimate Spider-Man game, in a way. But especially because Josh Keaton was voicing him too. That was great. That they got like all the voice actors. They got Neil Patrick Harris for Amazing.
I know.
They got and they got Christopher Daniel Barnes for Noir. They got was it Rhino Romano or was it someone else?
I might have to go back and look. I'm like, because I've watched cutscenes of the game and I hear these voices and I'm like, oh.
I think it was the guy who voiced him in the '80s in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. But
that's cool.
Yeah. But like, yeah, there was fun fan service, but like it just always felt like a chore to get through because it was the same type of enemies over and over and over. And Edge of Time, I thought actually had a really good story because it was like, first of all, it was written by Peter David.
Oh well, if it's written by Peter David, I'll probably read it then.
Oh yeah, like it was it's a very good story. Like, and it gets 2099's character better, I think, than Shattered Dimensions did, because Shattered Dimensions had him as like a big jokester as Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's not who Miguel is. Like, that kind of reminds me of how back in the early 2000s, Miguel was a part of Exiles, and like right when this indie writer put Miguel on the team, Claremont came on to Exiles, and he thought Miguel was just Peter, so he wrote Miguel out of the book with a different dimension version of MJ, and I was like, oh, Claremont, what are you doing?
That's weird. Ugh, but yeah, like Edge of Time had a pretty good story. Like, it was like Val Kilmer CGI video game body wanted to go back in time to make like Val Kilmer was in the game voicing like the CEO of Alchemax or something.
What the fuck?
No, he wasn't the CEO. He was like the guy below the CEO. Yeah, I don't know why Val Kilmer was voicing.
Val Kilmer, go away.
Yeah, like that was just strange, but like he went back in time to start Alchemax earlier. So what happens is like he changes time to where Peter is working at both the Daily Bugle and Alchemax. So then Miguel O'Hara just does some 2099 sciencey shit and like does a chronal link program, as he calls it, to be able to talk with Peter. And like they imply that it's a sequel to Edge of Time because Peter's like, are the other me's in my head too? And Miguel's like, no, it's just us, which is weird because you have, here's the thing that's weird about this. So you have 616 quote unquote amazing Peter, and then you have Miguel O'Hara. Yeah. In Shattered Dimensions, Peter was voiced by Neil Patrick Harris, and Miguel was voiced by the guy who voiced him in the 80s. Now, Josh Keaton was voicing Peter, and Christopher Daniel Barnes is voicing Miguel O'Hara, which I think they're good. I personally like them better than the ones in Shattered Dimensions, but it was just kind of weird. Because ultimately,
90 Spider-Man as Miguel actually kind of worked. That's just me, because I've seen video of Shattered Dimensions, and hearing 90 Spider-Man with Miguel actually kind of worked.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like I liked them in Edge of Time. It was just kind of jarring because like they were voicing different Spider-Men in Shattered Dimensions, and this was supposed to be a quote-unquote sequel-ish thing. But yeah, so like T-Venom's in the game. He's just there to be muscle.
Anti-Venom's in the game?
Yeah, Anti-Venom's in the game because like they wanted to use Venom, and
but Venom was Thompson at the time.
No, like it was before Flash Thompson became Venom, I think.
No, it was, like Anti-Venom was created for Eddie Brock because Thompson was Venom.
No, it was Matt Gargan.
Okay, now you're gonna make me pull out my encyclopedia because now that is not correct. That is not correct, Alec. Anti-Venom was created for Brock. That is not right.
It was Matt Gargan. He was trying to kill Eddie because Eddie had pieces of the suit left in him, and Mr. Negative touched it. And then Anti-Venom. Then like Matt Gargan was Eddie Brock became Anti-Venom because of Matt Gargan as Venom. I swear to God.
Incorrect, sir.
Are you kidding?
When Eddie Brock was debonded from the Venom symbiote, Martin Lee used his Mr. Negative powers to cure Eddie's cancer. So when he ran into Flash Thompson and Spider-Man, it like had a negative reaction and created the anti-Venom symbiote.
Wait, no, I gotta check this for myself. I swear to God, it was.
Yeah, because it happened right after Siege, because Gargan was locked up and the symbiote was given to Flash, and then Brock got jealous and touched him, and he became anti-Venom. I distinctly remember this.
No, this is what it says right here. It says after Brock was attacked by Mac Gargan, who is the current Venom, the symbiote attempts to reunite with Brock. Brock's skin becomes caustic to the symbiote, and he is enveloped in a new white symbiote forged from the remnants of the Venom symbiote. Yeah, like I swear to God, I remember reading this comic. I swear to God. You're looking at the wrong thing. I swear to God. But okay, this is another.
Yeah, we'll do this later. It's fine.
Yeah, but they're like, okay, Eddie Brock hasn't been Venom since forever, so we're gonna have him be anti-Venom. It's weird because he's supposed to reform.
I take it back. Yeah. You're right, because I see the cover that he started in. So fair. I'll give you that.
Haha. By
semi-knowledge, but it does say anti-Venom was Brock first. Gargan never had the anti-Venom suit.
No. It was Mac Gargan as Venom, going trying to kill Eddie, and then Eddie, because of a reaction, Eddie became anti-Venom because Mr. Negative.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah. So even though he's reformed and is like an anti-hero, he's blowing up Alchemax and killing people because Walker Sloan, which is Val Kilmer's character's name, is controlling him. Yeah, Walker Sloan. That's like the most generic bad guy name ever. He has these chips controlling Eddie, and it's basically what happens is that Miguel sees a premonition of anti-Venom killing Peter. So it's a race against time to try to save Peter. So what happens is that in the middle of the game, anti-Venom pretty much kills Peter. Then Miguel pulls him into his time through the time portal thing, and then Miguel jumps in to beat the shit out of anti-Venom. And then after he does that, he puts Peter in this cryogenic tube to heal him. And then Miguel gets stuck in.
What the hell? I might have to watch. I might actually watch the cutscenes of this show. I've only seen Shattered Dimension cutscenes.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good story. But then what? And also, Doc Ock is there for some reason, just helping Al Walker Sloan. So what happens is that Anti-Venom pushes the three of them into the time portal thing, and they get stuck between dimensions. So they get conjoined together as this thing called Atrocity, which is a low-key kind of homage to Monster Ock from the first Spider-Man game. Because it's giant Anti-Venom with big tentacles and time powers. It's a fucking trip. And then we find out that the real villain of the game is actually Peter, because Peter is revealed to be the CEO of Alchemax, and he's old. He created an anti-aging drug, and he made clones of Felicia Hardy because he's messed up. And his big grand plan is that he's gonna control time so he can save all the people he failed in life, which is pretty cool, I'd say. In this game, it's weird, but if it were in another story, I think it would be very interesting. But
and with that, I feel like we need to wrap up so I can go watch this freaking clusterfuck of a thing.
Yeah. So, yeah. I think that's a good point to wrap up. So,
we're at hour 3, so might as well.
Yeah,
that was a pretty good show.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Just two dorks rambling about video games. But this is the least scripted I've been so far with this. Still testing the waters of figuring this whole thing out. but we will get there eventually. Oh, I want to give a big shout out. I put this in the description of the last one, but I have a friend on Twitter. Her @ is Do Not Do It Donut. She is an amazing artist. She's doing commissions for me of my own spider sonar. She's been at it for like a month. So everybody check her out on Twitter. She's awesome. But yeah, check out all her art. And if you want to commission her, I definitely recommend it. She's very easy to work with. Her prices are very understandable. So yeah, just want to give her a shout out. So with that, I think we will wrap things up. James, do you have anything to say?
No, it's been a great time. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. I am at the Alec Thorn. God, I'm sorry, I'm having acid reflux so much. But James, what's your Twitter at so people can follow you?
James C. Portis 3. It's Portis. I'm really basic because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna brand this shit and have really basic and just roll with it.
Yeah, you can follow the podcast on Twitter. It is at LOTE_podcast. And you, of course, can follow On Comics Ground, which is at On Comics Ground, and subscribe to the On Comics Ground YouTube channel. And check out our website where we review comics, TV shows, movies, and do news articles about all the latest comic book stuff. So, yeah, we hope you guys had fun, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.